Welcome to Being Humankind with your hosts Brian, Mike, and Neely. We explore what it means to be human in a time of disconnection.
What small act of kindness were you once shown that you will never forget?
So I don't think I've had like a specific, I don't know why I start everything with that. I'll wait a second, let you edit it out. So my grandfather was always one of those people that opened doors for everybody or waited 3 extra people, even though he held it for the person that was, the rules state like if they're that close, hold the door. But he would always hold it for an extra person. He would always open like a car door for his wife. He would always smile at people or say good morning. And because he's always thought if everybody sees you happy, they don't have, they just want to be on that bandwagon type of thing. So I always learn those little courtesies, give up your chair for somebody type of thing or that kind of stuff. But I think one of the biggest sort of courtesy somebody showed me was my high school environmental science teacher. I was one of those teenagers that got attention from causing trouble, or I was good at it, or it was always funny in high school type of things, or, just getting laughs out of people at whether it's others' expenses or, just one of those students you don't like to have in class. And instead of giving me detentions, he used to make me go and clean up trails with him or do other community service things in town. And instead of like making a scene in class, he would just be like, "Hey, Geeg, you're going to meet me Tuesday after school for that cleanup, right?" type of thing. And that's when I knew I had another detention type of thing. But instead of throwing the book at me or just treating me like all the other degenerates that get babysat type of thing, he was just like, you know what? He just needs somewhere else to put his energy. So I think that completely, it led me down a road to volunteering that now I wish I almost didn't go down, because I've put so much time into a lot of projects that, didn't come to fruition in that sense. And I always give time instead of adding a value to it that's monetary, we'll say. But it was just one of those things. I think there's a lot of people I went to high school with that I see from time to time that were in the same boat as me, and they didn't get that helpful hand in the same sense, or didn't see that there was another option or that door they could walk through type of thing. And I could see myself being in a very different lifestyle right now because of things like that were opportunities for me.
Have you ever told him that?
Yeah, he's got 4 kids and they all call me Uncle Geeg. He's been a part of my life for 25 years now. I think I'm exaggerating. It's probably 21 years, but I can tell I'm getting older. Everything is older than I actually am in my stories. I hang out with him. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead, go.
I was gonna say, we go over there every Thursday and have dinner. Like I said, all his kids call me Uncle Geeg. They take birthdays, pictures with Ahab every year. They have no clue why yet, type of things. It's all part of the thing. Because like I said, it's the family that I have, and you guys know this. People that treat me with respect and give me their time, like that's the most valuable. Like giving somebody your time is the most valuable thing you can give somebody. And anybody that gives me time, I try to at least equal it out, if not give more back. So I think he's gotten more than he expected out of this. But
You were saying, Neely?
Have you ever talked about, or has he ever told you, what he saw in you, or, why?
So it's one of those things. So there's one story he always tells, like when he wrote a letter for me for the Peace Corps, which got delayed for political reasons way back when. But he wrote this story about how he took me on a cleanup, and while people were picking up like candy wrappers, I saw somebody threw a refrigerator over the banking, and I spent all day trying to figure out how to get it up there, because the candy wrappers come and go. They're there every day, no matter how many, it's the trash that blows down Main Street type of thing. I mean, it doesn't matter if you clean it up the day before, the whole next day, there'll be a piece of trash somewhere. Where I wanted to clean up something that would have made a difference that won't be there the next day. And that's how he sort of tells the story about me. But honestly, I think it's one of those things. It's like, I don't know if all of you have kids or nieces, nephews, things like that, but it's one of those things where you give them an orange ball for their 4th birthday, and somehow that was like engraved into their brain, right? It's like a moment that's significant. But in 20 years, you don't even remember what you gave them on their 4th birthday type of thing. And I think that's how, like, I don't think to him it was as significant, or the effort he put in was, he didn't realize how much it did for me type of thing. Or looking at it, we didn't know what was going to come of it. But I think he doesn't remember it as like I'm going to give this kid a chance. I just think, if you're in education, like sitting in a room with 20 kids, if you're just up at the board lecturing, not all 20 kids are learning like that. You have to change it up for a couple of the kids. And I think he just saw that, where he knew he could get me out doing something, and I would learn the lesson I needed to learn without being told it. And I think that was my biggest problem. I always had a problem. Didn't have a lot of good experiences with authority figures. So it was, somebody commanding me to learn something is not the way I'm going to learn something.
And he made a huge impact on you, obviously.
Definitely. Yeah, there's so many other stories. I think a lot of it brings it back to Ahab. Like, we used to run a camp out in town that was a week long for 10-year-old, like the 4th grade would always go camping. And that was one of the first big things he made me do. He brought me, like, you had to be like 16 to be a counselor. And I started when I was 14. And I kept it going for 10 years. Even after I left high school, I came back and we ran it and had a lot of fun. But it was just listening to stories around a campfire before I had a story of my own to tell around, a table, a campfire, things like that. I think he reminded me of my grandfather a little bit in the storytelling piece of it. And I think that's why I was drawn to these activities that he had, because we were always volunteering or doing something, but the reward in the end was an experience that nobody else could talk about. You could hear about it, but unless you were there, like, the value was in participating.